Welcome back to TCT Bass Fishing, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are back with you guys with an all new video, with a video that we actually have never done before. It's kind of similar to some other ones that we've done, but it's completely different. Today we're going to be rating 5 swim baits, 1 through 5 stars today on the channel, man. We have 5 rods, 5 reels, 5 swim baits, all different brands, different types of swim baits and things like that. But today we're coming on here to give y'all guys an idea of what these baits can do and how they can perform. We're gonna be throwing them in this pool right here, getting underwater footage for you guys of how they swim, the action, and all those different things, because these swim baits are kind of expensive. Sometimes we got some that are $20 in here, we got some that are $10. So there's all different prices and sizes and all those different things, and this is going to give you a good idea of what you're going into these stores or even online and what you're spending your hard-earned money on before you purchase it. So this is going to be a great idea. We got Bass Mafia, we got Googan swim baits, we got Sense Hangover, we got Megabass swim baits. We have all sorts of swim baits, so make sure to stay tuned, make sure to lock in, because we have 5 swim baits today for you guys you can test and check out. And like I said, we're gonna be rating these things 1 through 5 stars, so make sure to stay tuned, lock in, make sure you please like and subscribe, because we are on the road to 10K. Hopefully we can hit it this year, man. I'm super excited, super locked in. But without further ado, let's get locked in. Let's go check out these 5 swim baits. Let's go. All right, you guys, we are locked in and all ready to go, man. We have our first bait of 5 of the most popular swim baits on the market. And today, the first bait we're gonna be reviewing is a bait that I went to Academy and bought for $11.99 right here. This is gonna be your Berkeley Cull Shad, man. Check this bait out. I really do like the color and the design on this bait. The color does give it a realistic look, and as well as you look at the back of this tail right here, if you can see that, if the camera focuses, hopefully, the back of the tail has like some ridges and stuff like that. I'm no bait designer, but I'm gonna say this is to add more flexibility on the tail, to give it a nice paddle and a good action towards the back end of this bait. But again, man, at Academy, $11.99. That is gonna play into our 1 through 5 star rating on this bait. But without further ado, man, let's give this bait a pitch in the water and see what it can do underwater. Let's go. For this first toss right here, man, we're gonna slow retrieve this Berkeley Cull Shad. It actually looks pretty good underwater right now, actually. I'm actually very happy with the way it looks. No roll or anything like that. Looks pretty good on the first retrieval. It's pretty slow retrieve. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, let's try it again and let's see if it's consistent. Looks pretty consistent to me. I mean, it's maybe to the side just a hair, but I mean, its tail action's good. It's swimming fine. Let's give it one final toss, a third toss here, and see if it remains consistent and keeps this same swimming action. It looks good underwater so far, and so far, I mean, it's pretty good at the price margin it's at as well. I would say this time it's a little bit more to the side, but still not terrible, but pretty solid overall, man. I'm kind of liking it. All right, you guys, we just knocked out our first bait. We had 3 pitches and 3 slow retrieves back with the Berkeley Cull Shad, man. This bait right here, honestly, a lot better than I thought, man. $11.99 price margin at Academy. Not too bad right there. A nice design. It looks pretty realistic as well. Overall, I'm gonna give this bait, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I'm gonna say 4 stars is pretty solid. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, because it looked like to me, at least above the water, it did have a slight maybe tilt to it. So not perfect, but 4 stars is still a very good swim bait. For the price margin of $11.99, not too expensive at all for a swim bait, man. There's swim baits up there for $30 and way higher than that too. And we got some more expensive ones in here as well. But for $11.99 at your local Academy, man, this bait is worth a buy in my opinion. A good swimming action, so many other colors you can choose from, but so far this is a pretty good one. 4 to 5 stars once again, man. Let's move over to our second swim bait and see if it can beat out the Berkeley Cull Shad. Let's go. All right, you guys, it is now time for our second swim bait of the video, man. I'm excited for this one. This is a bait I've actually put to the test and used quite a few times, and also caught some fish with this. So this is a bait that I know is fairly effective, but it also has its kinks and things like that. And that is gonna be the Megabass swim bait right here. Check this thing out right here. $17.99 at your local Academy. A little bit more pricey than the Berkeley Cull Shad. And honestly, it does have some flaws that personally, through using, that I am not super much of a fan of, but nonetheless, it is a great swim bait. It just overall, man, as you can tell right here, as this thing gets worn out and as you catch a bunch of fish on it, this hook area starts to get really worn out, and the hook honestly gets to a point where it can't really stick in this bait anymore. But I mean, it still works. I mean, I've had this bait for about a year now. I don't use it too often, but when I do and it does catch fish, it is a good bait overall. But nonetheless, we're gonna put this bait in the water, we're gonna test it, we're gonna swim it and see how it does, and give it a 1 through 5 star rating, because overall we are rating these fish off the price and the way they swim and the action and things like that, and if they will be able to catch fish. So without further ado, man, let's get this bait in the water and see what it can do. Let's go. All All right, you guys, we got our first cast here with the Megabass swim bait. We're slow retrieving it directly to our GoPro camera here. So far, it's swimming very straight underwater. The tail action is also very good. This is a nice looking bait. A little bit of a shaky to side, but honestly not enough, I don't think, to really make a difference. Let's give it a second cast here and see what it can do. We're gonna slow retrieve it once again. It looks pretty good underwater. Might be a little hard to see on the GoPro because it is the albino white color. Kind of a clear shad replicant here. But again, another good retrieval, slow retrieve. We're gonna give it a third cast to see if it's consistent. Let's give it a third one right here. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What was that? Let's try it again. That's crazy. All right, here we go. Third cast right here with the Megabass swim bait. Slow retrieving it in right towards the camera, and it looks good once again. No side-to-side action really, and the tail's shaking, and it's really doing good, honestly. Overall, that is a pretty nice swim bait right there. Let's check it out on the camera. All right, you guys, we gave the Megabass swim bait 3 casts, just like we did the Berkeley Cull Shad, and honestly, pretty successful as well. Right here, get another look at that albino Megabass swim bait right there. It looks pretty good. It looked great underwater, as you saw in the underwater footage, but the one thing that I think hurts this bait is going to be the price margin. Honestly, I'm not too happy with the $17.99 at Academy compared to the Berkeley Cull Shad for $11.99, when I think they swam relatively similar. And I also believe that the Berkeley Cull Shad sells an albino color just like the Megabass. For $6 less, I think they're pretty similar. And another thing that I don't like about the Megabass, like I said earlier, was the bottom of this thing really does get worn out, and the hook really does come out fairly easily, and it is honestly kind of annoying. And for almost $20, I feel like this should stick a little bit more. When you do have the Berkeley Cull Shad for $11.99, that underneath it has a little clamp that actually keeps the hook in place. So honestly, I feel like it's a little more user-friendly when it comes to the hook staying on to the bait with the Berkeley Cull Shad for $6 less. $11.99 versus $17.99. I'm gonna give this bait 3 stars. 1 less star than the Berkeley Cull Shad because it did everything just as good, if not better than the Berkeley Cull Shad. But for $6 more, I personally just don't really know if it is exactly worth it, especially if you're a college kid like me, man. I would just rock out with the budget and go with the Berkeley Cull Shad over the Megabass swim bait that's dang near $20. But nonetheless, a great swim bait, and if you can afford it, I would go out and buy this, no doubt. It swims great, great color options, and just has a great action. So, man, without further ado, let's move over to bait number 3. Let's go. All right, you guys, we are now moving on to our third swim bait of the video, man. This is going to be a swim bait that is a lot smaller than the other one. This is only a 5-inch swim bait here, and the margin for this bait is going to be $12.99 at your stores. And this is the Bass Mafia Dangerous swim bait right here. This is the smaller one. This is the 5-inch version, and honestly, personally, I think the smaller the swim bait, honestly, probably the more effective, the more bass they're going to be able to eat it. And if your goal is just to get on bass, I would think the smaller the better. And honestly, this is going to play into my factor. I think the sizing of this bait is already a great start. Check it out here. Once again, the Bass Mafia Dangerous swim bait, the 5-inch. So many colors on this bait, but we're going to get in there. We're going to toss it around. We're going to check it out. Give it 3 underwater casts, just like the previous 2 baits. Slow reel it in, see what the action looks like, pull it out, and give it a 1 through 5 star rating. And without further ado, let's go get this thing in the water. Let's go. All right, you guys, we got our first pitch right here. We're gonna slow roll this Bass Mafia swim bait directly to our camera, and I can already tell from this far, it is swimming absolutely directly in a straight line. It looks really good. The tail action is also really good. It looks really good. I know I've said really good like 7 times in a row, but honestly, it's swimming pretty solid. For a little smaller swim bait, sometimes it's a little more tricky to get these things tuned in right on a good retrieval speed, but man, this thing looks good. For a smaller swim bait as well, I really, like I said, I like the downsized swim baits. I like a lot of downsized baits in general. The chatterbait downsize is a great one, but obviously this is a swim bait, so even then I think it's even better. This is probably a good bait to even throw in like green lights or down the edges of ponds, man. This thing looks pretty good. It swims so realistic, a smaller size, the color's nice. Everything about this bait I'm really liking, actually. And for a $12.99 price margin, this bait actually seems pretty solid. All right, you guys, that was a quick 3 cast right there for the Bass Mafia Dangerous 5-inch swim bait right there. Check that thing out, man. This thing looks great outside of water, and it looks even better in the water, man. A great swim bait right there for just $12.99. Only $1 more than your Berkeley Cull Shad, but honestly, I'm a big fan of the downsized swim bait right here. Only 5 inches versus the Berkeley Cull Shad is definitely and quite obviously a few inches bigger than this one. So this is a downsized swim bait that it could probably get more eats because more bass are going to be able to eat this bait. And honestly, it swims perfect. The color is great. Honestly, I'm going to give this bait, honestly, 5 stars, man. This is a 5-star swim bait for me right here. This is a bait that I'm going to consistently have in my lineup when I'm fishing swim baits, the downside swim bait, I love it. The color, I love it. The action, I love it. And at a $12.99 price margin, it is honestly one of the cheaper swim baits that we have here today, and honestly a great swim action as well. I'm gonna give this one a 5 stars right here, man. Check this thing out. This is great. A nice swimming action. We have it on some fluorocarbon right here and a long medium heavy rod, man. So I mean, I like this bait. Obviously 5 stars. This is our first 5-star bait of the video, man, and it is well worthy. Let's move on to our 4th swim bait, man, and see if it can beat the dangerous swim bait. Let's go. All right, you guys, we are now on to the 4th swim bait of today's video, and this is a newly released bait by Googan, actually. A pretty nice looking swim bait right here. This is going to be called the Googan Guppy 3.8 inch right here. Check this thing out. This is a little tiny swim bait right here, but honestly, the smallest swim bait of the video, even smaller than the previous Bass Mafia dangerous swim bait, and this bait is marked up at $7.99 at GooganSquad.com. The cheapest swim bait of the video, but also the smallest swim bait of the video. So we're gonna put this thing to the test and see if it can swim fairly well, no rolls or anything like that, and just see how the action is. Because this is a interesting looking swim bait right here, different body type than every other swim bait in this video, and we're gonna see if it's just as effective for the $7.99 range and see what it can do. Let's go check it out. All right, you guys, we got our first cast with the Googan Guppy right here, 3.8 inch. So far, the slow retrieval is looking very nice. Swimming in a straight line, no really wobble or shake to it, and the tail action is great. As you can see, all the way to the face of the camera right there. That looked pretty solid, not gonna lie. But let's give it another pitch, see if it's consistent here. We got our second cast right here with the Googan Guppy. We're gonna slow retrieve this swim bait directly to the camera once again. And again, a consistent action right there, looks solid. And still swimming in a straight line, and from up here above the water, there doesn't look like very much rattle to it or shake to it whatsoever. And honestly, I'm really liking this action right here on this Googan Guppy. A nice color too. So many colors they offer on this bait, but for $7.99, this bait is looking fantastic, man. Look at that. That's great. Let's check this thing out a little bit more on the camera and see if it is worth 5 stars. All right, you guys, and for our 4th swim bait right there, the Googan Guppy absolutely held up to the test. For $7.99, man, it's an absolutely great bait. Swam in a perfect direct line, no shaking, no spinning, no going lopsided, nothing like that. Directly straight in a single straight line, dude. It's honestly very impressive. The tail action of this thing was also very great, as you saw in the underwater footage. And for $7.99, man, I'm gonna give this thing a back-to-back 5 stars, because man, that Bass Mafia swim bait was great. Straight line, great color, great size, and for 3.8 inch, the range opens so much for the amount of fish that can eat this, from like the Megabass swim bait and the Berkeley Cull Shad, because this thing is about half the size of both those swim baits, and also a lot cheaper. The Berkeley Cull Shad, we said, was a great margin for $11.99, and this thing is even better for just $7.99, dude. Absolute steal right here. This is a great swim bait. Honestly, I don't know how effective it is, obviously, out there on the water, but what I'm seeing in this pool, based off the action, the colors they offer online, and the price margin, man, this is a great bait right here. 5 stars. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna recommend it. We're gonna make some videos fishing this thing and try to get some fish on it. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but this thing is a line through as well, as you can see right here. Hook comes right out. You hook set into a fish, and your bait is off there, still connected to the line, and you have your hook separate, and that keeps this bait from potentially knocking out the hook too. So man, this is a great bait over here at GooganSquad.com. Make sure to go check it out, man. $7.99, a great price and a great bait as well. And now let's move on to our 5th and final swim bait of the video and see if it can somehow beat the Bass Mafia swim bait and the Googan swim bait. Let's go check it out. Let's go. All right, you guys, and for the 5th and final swim bait, man, this is a bigger swim bait for sure, probably the biggest and probably the thickest swim bait that we got here. This is gonna be the Sense Hangover swim bait, man, a very popular swim bait on the bass fishing market, but also a little bit more on the pricey end. I looked at Bass Pro sell these things for $14.99, but Cabela's and Bass Pro, Academy sells them for $19.99, but obviously I don't know why you'd buy it from Bass Pro if it's $5 more. So we're gonna go with the Academy price at $14.99. They offer so many colors in this bait and a lot of different sinking rates as well. So we're gonna check this thing out, give it 3 casts like we did all the other baits, get some underwater footage, and see how this thing swims. Let's check it out. All right, we got our first cast here with the Sense Hangover. So far, it is shaking like crazy. Okay, here we go. We try to get this retrieval speed right, but now it looks pretty good. Swam good that time. The first couple reels there looked absolutely insane. It was rolling all over the place, but here we go. Now we're slow retrieving it. It's still shaking. It's moving side to side. I'm slow retrieving it. It's kind of straightening out, but it's still shaking. So far, this one has definitely had the most shake and wobble to it. It could just be a bad retrieve. Third and final cast here. We're going slow. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, speed up a little bit. It still has a little roll, but it's a lot better. We'll give it a fourth cast. We'll give this one a fourth one. I think we maybe just messed up the cadence and the speed here on the retrieval. Fourth cast right here. That was a little skipper. And let's pick up the retrieval speed. And still a little bit of side to side, but honestly a lot better, a lot more straighter. That's pretty good on the 6th Sense swim bait. Let's give it a final 1 through 5 star rating and see how this thing ends up. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for our 5th and final swim bait of today's video, man. The 6th Sense Hangover, they offer so many colors in this bait. Like I said, for the $14.99 price over at Academy, pretty good swim bait overall. We did have some struggling. It was kind of doing a little wobble side to side action at first, which I mean, once we kind of got the speed picked up right and it was at the right speed, it swam fairly straight, but still had a little bit of wobble action. We're gonna give this bait, we're gonna give it let's see. I mean, it's a pretty good size, a lot of colors. The pricing, depending where you go, could be a little expensive, and as you saw there from casting, we lost an eye. That's not ideal, but this is another also a line through swim bait similar to the Googan right here and the Bass Mafia swim bait. Line through swim bait is pretty nice, but we're gonna give this bait I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, honestly, because this is the only bait out of all the out of all the baits we threw that had some wobble side to side action. And honestly, I didn't have that problem with any other bait, and all the other baits, they gave a higher rating. And also, if you, depending where you buy this thing, this is also the most expensive swim bait you're gonna buy from today's video. So 3.5 stars I feel is fair. It's a good bait. It looks good overall. We've seen so many fish been caught with this bait online and from the other YouTubers and stuff like that. So we know it's effective, we know it's good, but I just didn't really like the side to side action and at the price margin too sometimes. I mean, 20 bucks for me as a college student, I ain't dropping 20 bucks on a swim bait. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna stick with my $7.99 Googan or $12.99 Bass Mafia or something like that. But either way, man, a good swim bait nonetheless. But today's video, man, thank y'all so much for watching. It was a pretty good video. Honestly, I enjoyed going through all 5 of these swim baits and giving them ratings and things like that, because I feel like they all bring something different to the table. Different sizes, different lengths, so many different colors. And I mean, a pretty good video overall. I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. Make sure you please like and subscribe. And if you want another bait review or more bait comparisons and ratings, comment what you want down below, whether it's crawfish baits or spinner baits, chatter baits, anything like that. Comment down below. And until next time we rate some more baits, peace out.